Hello class, FIJC students, welcome to the English class. And today we begin with Elizabethan and Restoration Theatre. Students, we have completed the previous text and now here we begin with 4.1 part 2. On your screen, as you could see, text page 131. We are on text page 131. Take note. Just a quick review what we have studied in this particular chapter. Yes, students, we begin section 4, that is 4.1, History of English Drama. We discussed about the English drama. We discussed the introduction. We discussed what is drama, the elements of drama, the 4 closely related areas of drama, that is focus of the scene, focus of the audience, focus of the character, focus of the actor. Then students, we studied about the objectives. Yes, that after studying this unit you will be able to understand and identify drama as a genre of literature. Yes, you will also learn the definition of drama and you will be able to differentiate between the drama and other forms of literature. Moreover, students, you will be also able to explain the basic elements of drama. So students, here we have discussed the basic elements of drama. Just I scroll the page upward. See the elements of drama. So we have read all these elements in detail, which is very much on the next page. Moreover, students, we have also understood the types of drama. So in your PDF pictures, I have sent some images of these types of drama. Something that I could get easily on net. I have tried my level best to make the picture PDF. Okay. So students, just go through it. The picture PDF I'm speaking about. In that, the pictures of romantic comedy, sentimental comedy, classical comedy, comedy of humor, comedy of manners. Some pictures I have tried. And students, here, your text page 130. Again, just read it quickly. The elements of drama. I hope you have done it. And then students, on page 131, we begin with a short history of drama. Just I scroll the page for you. So this introduction of English theatre, I read it for you. What is English theatre? You can just read it again. And today we move on to the new second topic, that is Elizabethan and Restoration period. Elizabethan and Restoration theatre. Underline the word Elizabethan. Underline the word Restoration theatre. Students, Elizabethan, that is relating to Elizabeth I of England, of her reign. R-E-I-G-N, reign, that is during her ruling period. So Elizabethan relating to Elizabeth I of England or her reign. So students, please take note, here we are going to discuss the time period during the Elizabethan one. How was English drama in those days? Moreover, students, we will be also learning about the Restoration Theatre. Restoration Theatre or Restoration period. See students, the term restoration refers not only to an event in which power of English monarchy was restored under King Charles II, but also to the period of several years afterwards, which marked a new political atmosphere. So students, theatres were reopened and restoration comedy became a popular genre. Please take note. So this is what we are going to study in this particular information about Elizabethan and Restoration Theatre. So here we take a start. Students, I may go somewhat very slow with it because this topic is very much new to you. Moreover, there are many concepts which are not clearly explained in the text. So at times, I may stop there and explain you those concepts. So I may go somewhat slow with it. Okay. So students, I read from your text. I read from the screen. This secular morality plays. Students, please see the word secular morality play. We are discussing about the secular word. Here secular means all religions are treated equally before the law, before the justice. So, this secular morality plays. Moralities means full of moral values, conveying a good message of values and very much based on secular thoughts. So this secular morality plays have direct links with the Elizabethan plays. The Renaissance imposed a learned tradition, classical in depth with themes of education, general moral problems and secular politics. The plays had nothing to do with religion. There were examples of both comedy and tragedy. Thomas Kidd, Christopher Marlowe and William Shakespeare are the prime dramatists of this era. It was Kidd who discovered how easily blank verse might be converted into a useful theatrical medium, which Shakespeare used brilliantly in all his plays. Tragedy developed in the hands of Kidd and Marlowe. Comedy had also proceeded beyond rustic humor. By the 90s of the 16th century, the theatre in England was fully established, but complicated conditions governed the activities of the dramatist. Now students, please take note. Very first in the second line, we get the word Renaissance. What is Renaissance? Have you ever heard the word Renaissance? Yes, maybe in the history class. If you remember 9th standard history, 10th standard, have you heard this word Renaissance? Or maybe not for your syllabus. There was change of syllabus after that, I think. So students, please take note. The word Renaissance is a period in European history between the 14th and 17th century that marks the transition that is change from the Middle Ages to modernity, and is considered to be a period of artistic, scientific and cultural rebirth. So students, please take note. In short, you can say Renaissance means rebirth. It happened so in the history of Europe that new thoughts, new ideas, innovative ideas were brought into picture. As far as art was concerned, scientific temperament, scientific analysis were concerned, and cultural growth of the society was concerned, Renaissance was just a happening era when innovative ideas flooded in Europe with new thoughts, new dreams, with new vision of looking towards the world. Please take note. In the Renaissance era, the beautiful portrait of Mona Lisa was painted for the first time. And that gave a thought that yes, not only the figures of God and goddesses are should be looked upon, but the human figure, a picture of a boy, a picture of a girl, a picture of a crying girl. So pictures with certain emotions were were exposed to the society. That was the Renaissance period, and the picture of the very popular picture of Mona Lisa is the painting of the Renaissance period. When man started understanding the other man on human grounds. So students, the Renaissance imposed a learned tradition. You know the tradition, the practices, what people they had in those days. Then the classical in depth. People were very much, you can say, conservative as far as their mindset is concerned. They were very much conservative, they were very much traditional. But Renaissance period gave them a thought beyond their imagination, beyond their vision. So students, in classical depth with the themes of education, please take note. Now in Renaissance period, different educational themes were introduced pertaining to different subjects. Moreover, students, even general moral problems and secular politics, everything was brought on the stage. Okay, different aspects of themes were brought on the stage, so-called secular morality plays. And they had a direct link with the Elizabethan plays, means before that, old plays. So students, please take note here. Elizabethan and Restoration theatre was much more educational in nature. That is imparting more and more values, imparting more and more information to the society, discussing the topics based on tradition, based on conservative thoughts of the society, discussing the moral problems of the society and the secular politics. Students, the plays had nothing to do with religion. Take note of it. The plays which were played on the stage during the Restoration, in the Restoration theatre, during the Restoration period, they were far away from the thought of religion. There were examples of both. So what was presented on the play's platform, on the dais? Something that was very much related to comedy and tragedy. Yes, students, we have these two important themes in our life, comic and tragic. Sometime we experience the comic period of our life, something that is happening happily, humor, laughter, and some phases are full of tragic episodes. Worries, tensions, miseries, sorrows, frustration. So comedy and tragedy are the two sides of a same coin, which were very much exhibited on the stage during the Restoration period in the Restoration theatre. Moreover, students, Thomas Cade, Christopher Marlowe and William Shakespeare, you must have heard about these great writers in English literature. They are the prime dramatist of this era. Prime dramatist means the main dramatist. Their plays were very much on the screen, or you cannot say screen, but very much played on the stage for the viewers to watch. So even till date, we all know Thomas Cade, Christopher Marlowe and William Shakespeare. Their writings were so much effective that it influenced the masses in Europe. And it was Kidd who discovered how easily blank verse might be converted into a useful theatrical medium. Blank verse means a poem which is not having any meter, any rhythm, any pattern, any poetic device as such, no figures of speech, no rhyming words, so called blank verse or free verse. They also became the important medium which Shakespeare used brilliantly in all his plays. You must have heard about Natya Sangeet or musical plays. So students, please take note. During the Restoration period, during the Elizabethan period, such plays were played very skillfully on the stage and they were very much brilliantly presented with good blank verse. Moreover, students, this period also witnessed the tragedy. Tragedy developed in the hands of Kids and Marlowe. Comedy had also proceeded beyond rustic humor. Underline the word rustic humor. Humor you all know. What is humor? Something that makes you laugh, smile. But when it comes to the word rustic, students here, rustic is related to humor, lacking in sophistication and uncultured. So students, please take note. In those days, the general aura of the plays were very much dramatic, full of climax, happy ending, or most of the time sad ending. So students, people started getting bored with this comedy, tragedy in life and tragedy on this stage. Then the thought of rustic humor was brought into picture, which gave the idea of very unsophisticated life and uncultured plays. Means nothing is very much systematic there. Only humor is the focus of attraction. Only to focus on the humor, rustic humor, uncultured humor. But only the motto was to make the audience happy. So students, it happened so that this particular era witnessed something that is beyond the rustic humor as well. So by the 90s of the 16th century, the theatre in England was fully established. But complicated conditions governed the activities of the dramatist. So students, please take note. The people, those who were the writers, the dramatists, the playwriters, the dialogue writers, they were very much troubled by the environment of those days. Because they were doing something different beyond imagination. Before that, something that was only portrayed, depicted, narrated were only the holy figures. The images of gods and goddesses, their mythological stories. But now, the comedy and tragedy gave a new direction in the world of Restoration theatre. So students, please take note. When something new is happening, people, they deny it first. People, they don't accept it first. This is what the human tendency is. We deny, we restrict. We restrict to think above and beyond, something that is very much practiced right now. If I will ask you to change your seat right now, wherever you're sitting, I will say, come on, get up and go and sit in the other room. You will say, why? Why I should change my place? So students, people, they stood up with many uncomfortable questions. They were not ready to accept the Renaissance. They were not ready to accept the change. They were not ready to accept the human characters on the stage. They were very much searching for the divine figures on the stage. So therefore, the conditions were not very much good for the activities of the dramatist. Moreover, students, the public theatre of the 16th century differed in many important ways from the modern theatre. Now, students, here we have two types of theatres, public theatre and modern theatre. Now, yes, this public theatre, it was open to sky, means without artificial lighting. The stage was a raised platform with the recess at the back supported by the pillars. You must have seen such open stage. I will also try to send it in the PDF. There was no curtains and main platform could be surrounded on three sides by the audience. Around the theatre, there were galleries. In the 17th century, the enclosed theatre gained importance. There was increasing attention to scenic device as theatre became private. So students, please take note. The open theatres were also called as public theatre with no proper roof, no curtains. All the characters were clearly visible and exposed to the audience. So there was no privacy maintained. Moreover, even the artificial light effects were not there. Only natural light effects were working in the public theatre. Then, student, the concept changed. Of course, these public theatres were very much with galleries, balconies for the audience, three sides for the audience and one side for the stage. But later on in 17th century, the complete scenario changed. And it gained much importance and the theatres became private. And now there was tremendous need of artificial lighting to bring the effect to the presentation. So students, there was increasing attention to scenic device as theatre became private. Then students, Shakespearean era came into existence in the 16th century to the public theatre. He wrote for the contemporary theatre. Contemporary theatre? Contemporary means belonging to the same time. Manipulating the Elizabethan stage. Now students, please take note. Manipulating the Elizabethan stage. When new thoughts are coming, we need to bid goodbye to the old thoughts. So naturally, when the Shakespearean drama came on stage with some new thoughts, with some new scenic devices, then it was very much manipulating for the Elizabethan stage, as Elizabethan stage were very much old-fashioned. Though they were with great resource and inventions, so manipulating the Elizabethan stage with great resource and invention. Here take note, 16th century witnessed something magic and miracle in the world of drama, accompanied with number of resourceful happenings plus inventions. Naturally, Elizabethan stage became outdated. But the genesis of Shakespeare should not allow the rest of the drama of his age to be obscured. Obscured, that is relatively unknown. Very good line, students. When we get a new dress, we throw away the old one. This is the human tendency. But some people, they accept the new dress, but they also keep the old one. Here I would like to correlate this thought with the Elizabethan stage. According to Shakespeare, he said that please accept that is new, accept it, welcome it. But at the same time, don't bid goodbye forever for the old ones, because old is gold. So don't make the Elizabethan stage absolutely unknown to the people, to the new generation. Let the new generation get introduced to the Elizabethan stage also. Don't throw it in the trash when the new stage is coming up. So students, accept the public theatre as well as accept the modern theatre was the brilliant thought. Contemporary to him was Ben Jonson, a classicist, a moralist, and a reformer of drama. In comedy, Jonson's genesis is found at its best, and his influence was considerable. The Restoration dramatist leaned strongly upon him. So students, please take note. Now here some new thoughts was shown on the stage. So here we meet Ben Jonson. Who is Ben Jonson? A classicist, a moralist, and a reformer of drama. Reformer means forming something new, adding something new to the old pattern of drama. So he was a reformer. He added many new concepts to dramatization. Moreover, he was of the thought very much classic in nature and full of values. So students, in comedies, Jonson genesis is found at its best, and his influence was considerable. The Restoration dramatist leaned strongly upon him. Okay. Closing of theatres by the Puritans. Underline the word Puritans. What thought is coming to you when I said Puritan? Something that is coming to my mind is king. King Puritans. Let's see now what is the meaning of Puritans. Whether my guess is right. Puritan. So I'm reading it. What is Puritans? Puritans were the members of English religious group in the 16th and 17th centuries who wanted to purify the church and believed that pleasure was wrong or unnecessary. So here are the Puritan thoughts. But students, please take note. Puritans were also addressed as the kings, the royal people. Now student, it happened so in the 16th and 17th century that religion was very much focused on. Religion was the main thought in individual's mind. Moreover, students, Puritans were the people of 16th and 17th century who wanted to purify their thoughts. Okay? There should be extreme purification in the life, and the sources were dramas presented, performed in those days. And how should be the nature of those dramas? They should be very much purified in nature. Okay? So-called Satyug, so-called Satsang. Something that is pure, something that is holy, something that is divine should be shown to the people through the dramas. Under such circumstances, students, naturally, the thought of being happy, the thought of comedy, the thought of pleasure was debarred. Why people want happiness? Why people want the humor? Why people want the pleasure? Not needed. Only self-purification is the need of the time. So this was the thought of the Puritans. Take note. So students, closing of theatres by Puritans in 1642 brought this greatest of all periods in the history of English drama to an end. With the civil wars, no theatres existed between 1642 to 1660. Civil wars. Civilians were at the forefront in the war. That time there was huge devastation, destruction, and that period counts in between 1642 to 1660. Now student, the next phase which appeared after the Restoration produced a very different kind of dramatic literature. What was it? Dramatists like Chapman Thomas Middleton, Webster and Dekker were at the forefront. Students, please take note. Gradually, we are moving towards the modern theatre, modern era, with some new writers, with some new dramatists. This new dramatist had their new way of thinking, which was not at all accepted by the old ones. When Charles II came back with the restoration of 1660, the theatres were reopened. The Restoration comedy achieved its peculiar excellence. Drama developed into class drama with upper class ethos. Now students, please take note. In those days, even the dramas were classified into ethos. Upper class ethos, lower class ethos, middle class ethos. So what do you mean by upper class ethos? Students, upper class ethos means the guiding beliefs or ideals that characterize the upper class. So a very sophisticated comedy was presented in the upper class ethos. Not any stupid comedy, not any immoral comedy, but the quality of comedy was maintained to its level, high class level, that was upper class ethos. Okay, now students, sometimes the comedy is so much sophisticated that some people, they don't understand it. Okay, and sometimes even for the minor joke, some people, they burst out in laughter. So called the comedy of lower class. A small joke cracked and there is a burst of laughter. Sometimes the comedy is very much of middle class level. So students, what happened with this upper class ethos? It lasted beyond this period into the first decade in the 18th century. Decade, that is a span of 10 years. So it lasted for 10 years in the 18th century. Comedy in the early 18th century declined into sentimentalism. Now students, please take note. Even I have forwarded the picture of sentimental comedy. What is this sentimentalism? Sentimentalism in literature characterized by a focus on feelings and emotions. Yes, comedy is there. Comedy is the main theme. But in that sentimental comedy is very much attached with the feelings and emotions of the character. Then students, it became comedy of manners. I have forwarded some pictures to you regarding comedy of manners. I think we have discussed comedy of manner in the early class. Comedy of manner is the exact opposite of the sentimental comedy. Please take note and write it. Comedy of manners is exact the opposite of sentimental comedy, a type of comedy that makes fun of the social standards and behavior of the people in the society. So in comedy of manner, you will find even the king is not spared and even the jokes are cracked on the king, on the post of king. That is comedy of manners, where all the bars, all the restrictions are literally cancelled, literally banned, and only comedy is focused upon. So student, George Etheridge was its most important exponent. Exponent means he was the first to expose the thought of comedy in true sense. Okay. So students, it happened that George Etheridge was its most important exponent. From such depth, the drama was rescued. Rescued was saved by Oliver Goldsmith and Richard Sheridan. With Sheridan, something of brilliance of restoration dialogue returned into comedy, but with more genial atmosphere. Students, please take note not to forget the past, to preserve the past, but at the same time to accept the new. So here, on the base of the classical writing, the comedy was created with some more genial atmosphere. Genial atmosphere, that is friendly atmosphere. The characters were firmly presented with clarity, reminiscent, reminiscent, reminiscent of Johnson, but with no depth in Sheridan's world. Yes, comedy is there, but the comedy is very expressed with classical theme. Though the classical theme is serious in nature, it is presented in genial atmosphere. Means even the sad happenings are presented with happy gesture. The characters were firmly presented with clarity, reminiscence. Underline the word reminiscence. Reminiscence means making one remember a particular person, event, or things. That is reminding. Reminiscent means reminding. Reminding of Johnson, but with no depth in Sheridan's world. No new interpretation of human nature. In this, he was nearer to Oscar Wilde than to Johnson. So this is about their writings. They were trying to overcome each other with their different ways of writing. Then students, we are going to discuss about the modern theatre. Modern theatre, what about it? Students, the modern theatre with its picture frame stage. Its actresses taking female parts. Its movable scenery designed to create a visual image of the local of each scene, and its artificial lights was developed during the Restoration period. There is a clear influence of France in theatre and audience and the themes. Students, in modern theatre, all the ladies actors started working and playing their female part. Before that, male used to play the female part. Male used to play the female role. Then, what about the backdrop? Backdrop of the stage, the curtains behind, the scenery behind, they started moving. So the scenes were changed. The scenes were designed and they were changed as per the need of the drama. So this was to create visual image of the local. So if it is a village, so the backdrop with a movable scenery will show the village. Naturally, the audience is taken to that village through that beautiful movable scenery backdrop, which portrays the picture of village. Moreover, students, there were artificial lights also. This happened during the Restoration period, okay, with the modern theatre. Moreover, students, there were clear influence of France theatre and audience and the themes. Everything was changing in the modern theatre. And people liked it, people appreciated it, people voted for it. So number of audience, they flooded in the modern theatre. Now students, in modern theatre, the drama of the early 19th century was on the whole on the way to decline because of many causes. What happened? All of a sudden, why there was a sudden fall, sudden decline in modern theatre? What are the causes? Number one, the theatre was home mainly to irregular spectacle, melodrama and farce. Underline the word farce. Students, farce is a funny play where the characters find themselves in unusual circumstances. So these are the farce. So students, the modern drama, which was having no certain rules and regulations, they became very much irregular for the spectacles because people, they couldn't get it. They found too much of melodrama or farce in the presentation. Of course, farce is a funny play where the characters find themselves in unusual circumstances. So this was the theme of the dramas. Now, a simple external reason can be found in the monopoly held by the two houses, Convent Garden and Drury Lane, for the performance of serious drama. The audiences which gathered to the 19th century theatre had not the intelligence of the imagination of Elizabethan audience. Now, students, please take note. Even the audience has to be very much clever, smart, and then they will select what they want to see. Some people, they only vote for the comedy theatres. Some they vote for the art theatre. Some they vote for the serious theatre. So they want serious drama. They want some tragedy in the drama. So even the status of audience do change group to group. Some voted for comedy, some voted for climax, tragedy, some voted for realism. So now there was a danger. What was the danger? The danger in the 19th century theatre was that above all it was unrelated to life of the time. Students, please take note of it. It happened so in the 19th century that people, they gave up imagination and they couldn't imagine the next plot. Okay, Elizabethan time, the people were very much with the imagination. But in 19th century, people was above all that. And it was unrelated to the life of the time. The changes in the structure of society had so modified the human personality itself that a new interpretation was essential. Students, please take note. If I am not teaching to your understanding level, then my teachings are meaningless, useless. Same happened with the dramas. The dramatists were trying to present their dramas in the best possible way, but it was not reaching to the masses. People were just remaining very much blank after watching the drama. They were not getting the message conveyed. They were not getting the theme of that drama. Then what happened in 19th century? Ibsen, the great Norwegian dramatist of the 19th century, dominates the modern drama. He developed modernist, realist, social and psychological dramas like The Doll's House, Ghost, and Enemy of the People. They are far more subtle. Subtle means rare, difficult to find. Okay, more subtle in stagecraft. Underline the word stagecraft. Students, here the meaning of stagecraft means the skill or art of producing plays. So subtle in stagecraft, the skill, the art, yeah, that is stagecraft, producing the plays. So subtle in stagecraft and profound in thought than anything in the modern English theatre. But it was only George Bernard Shaw who was deeply influenced and affected by Ibsen's innovative contribution and experimentation. Students, see here, I would definitely like to speak about the word experimentation. In order to achieve something new, we need to have experiments in our life. Innovative contribution we need, then only our life will change. So new thoughts should be welcomed every time. Now, who supported Ibsen's writing? Yes, he was George Bernard Shaw. He supported. He was highly influenced and affected by Ibsen's innovative contribution, and he supported him. He was the most brilliant playwright of his time. He alone had understood the greatness of Ibsen, and he was determined that his own play should also be vehicled for ideas. So students, please take note, Ibsen's thoughts, innovative ideas were very much taken by many playwrights, by many dramatists. And he was determined that his own play should also be a vehicle for ideas. Vehicle means should give a good speed, should accelerate those ideas, new ideas, modern ideas. The responsibility of elevation of the English drama, elevation means decoration, the side decoration, the outer elevation of English drama to the brilliance of the Norwegian fell with Oscar Wilde and G.B. Shaw in the late 19th and early 20th century. Now we are coming to the 28th century. The 20th century showed a talent in the drama with which the 19th century could not compete. Yes, overtaking each other. Overtaking. 16th century was very much overtaken by 17th century. 18th century mastered the 17th century. 19th century came with more additional innovations and it overcome 18th century. And then 20th century. How was 20th century? Again here, some new ideas where 19th century could not compete with the 20th century. H. Grenville Barker, John Galsworthy, yes. St. John Irwin were some of the playwrights who explored contemporary problems. Contemporary means ongoing problems, real problems. St. John Irwin had been associated with a group of Irish dramatists whose work was normally produced in the Abbey Theatre in Dublin. Much that is best in the modern drama in English developed from this movement. One of its originators was Lady Georgry. It's Gregory. I repeat, Lady Gregory with W.P. Yeats and J.M. Synge. S is silent. They were the most important dramatists in this Irish revival who used a sense of tragic irony. What is tragic irony, students? Tragedy is there, but it is presented in a very ironical manner. That is tragic irony. Yes. Tragic irony is a type of drama in which words or actions of the characters contradict the actual situation and the spectators are aware of this, but the characters themselves are not. Yes, sometimes, students, this is what tragic irony is. We know what happened to the mother of that hero. The other characters in this play, they know what happened to the hero, to the mother of that hero. But it is presented that hero is not aware of it. So people started accepting it. So this is what tragic irony is. Understood? I have explained it in a very simple language about tragic irony. Sometimes we know what is going wrong. We audience know what is wrong in this. But the characters in the scene, they don't know what is wrong in it. That is the sense of tragic irony. A violent species of humor and rich and highly flavored language. This was the time of 20th century, the way dramas were presented. I use the word tragic irony was there in the 20th century. Moreover, violent species of humor, comedy was rich and highly flavored language was used in 20th century. And 19th century couldn't compete with it. T.S. Eliot experimented with Greek tragedy in the early 40s of 20th century. Other dramatists of the modern era, John Osborne, wrote on people who grew up after the Second World War. Kingsley Amis wrote about frustrated anti-establishment young people. Osborne's Look Back in Anger brought a new vitality to the theatre scene. It was more a cultural phenomena than the work of literature. Other important playwrights of the modern era include Anton Chekhov, Bertolt Brecht, Eugen O'Neill, Arthur Miner, Tennyson William, Eugen Ionesco, Samuel Beckett, and Harold Pinter. So students, it's about the writers, their names, and they all belong to 20th century. Okay, you can just read it for your personal reference. Then what about the Indian theatre? Earliest seeds of modern Indian drama came to be found in Sanskrit drama from the 1st century AD. Mahabhasya by Patanjali provides a feasible date for the beginning of the theatre in India. What is the meaning of feasible? Underline this word feasible. Feasible means full of feast, enjoyment. Then to students, please you find out the meaning of this feasible here. I'm not getting the exact meaning here. Feasible. Wait. Feasible means possible to do. Feasible here means possible to do. Yeah. So as we are discussing the Indian theatre, how was the nature of Indian theatre? It was very much based on Sanskrit drama. Okay. And it was of the 1st century AD. Moreover, Mahabhasya by Patanjali provides a feasible. Feasible, I gave you the meaning. Possible to do everything. Date for the beginning of theatre in India. The major source of evidence is a treatise on theatre, that is Natya Shastra by Bharat Muni, is the most complete work of dramatology in the ancient world. It gives mythological accounts. Mythological, as you know, the story is based on god and goddesses, account of the origin of theatre. Modern Indian drama, however, has influences from all over the world, as well as Sanskrit and Urdu tradition. So now this is here on your screen, history of drama. Students, history of drama will continue in the next class. Okay. So here I complete 4.1 part 2. So I stop here at Indian drama, Indian theatre, I stop. Again you will get 4.1 part 3 in the next class. Okay. So this is, we complete with 4.1 part 2. Okay. Along with this particular teaching PDF, I will also send the notes. Okay. Else the video will become too much lengthy for you to listen. So students, I hope you got to know that this particular history of English drama, this text is very lengthy, and so we are parting it in first part, second part and third part. I hope we'll complete this particular 4.1 in part 3. But before that, I would definitely like to send the notes PDF to you. Okay. So till then we meet for the next class. Do take care of yourself. Bye.